James, what's happening?
What's going on, man?
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just waiting for this stuff to pop off.
All right. So that's so cool that you're here watching us and you're giving us this info. This is like inside info. So you work at AT&T. For all those that don't know, he works at AT&T. I believed him. You're in Florida, right? Are you in Florida?
I am, yeah.
So what? So you're saying now that that the switch. I don't know how you explain it, but one of the switches was attacked because they keep turning it on and off. Every time you guys turn it on, it goes off again.
Yeah, so basically what happens is on our servers, we have ports that go to our nodes for the towers. And at you could shut that stuff down. It's almost like a light switch, though that there's different things that go into it. But every time it happened, it just got shut right back off. And so the only thing that we didn't understand is they could shut everything off. So if this was a plant, like basically everybody in the room here, including myself, is waiting for this big thing to happen. We know it's coming any day now. But like my boss was saying, if they were going to shut it down, they could shut everything down. If they could do one, they could do them all.
That's what I was thinking.
So, but I do know about 3 weeks ago, I'm also part of the disaster plan recovery for the United States on the cell side of this.
Wow.
So I'm the one that brings up the towers when they go down. And, they have been outfitting all the COs of AT&T with satellite phone and internet at their houses and in their offices. We just had one done locally. And I was talking to the electrician, and he's just like, man, it's so strange because we're putting 60K generators on tap at these guys' houses for some reason. Well, we've deployed over 100 generators to the cell sites that have standalone cell generators. So there shouldn't be more than one paired. We have a stationary. If that goes down and needs maintenance or it needs recovered, then one comes in. No, they're doubling them up for some reason. And then the satellite connection, and then it just kind of comes together. It's like they know something big's about to happen.
Oh my gosh! Now, so when you say they're doing the satellites, they're giving that to the workers. Is that what they're doing? Just to
No, to the leadership, to the big, not even just like my boss or my boss's boss, but to the CEO of AT&T, some of the VPs that are in the Florida, New York area, East Coast area, they're all getting outfitted with fiber that is going to have a direct connection to the satellite portion of the internet. So
wow.
There's only one reason why that happens. I mean, there's no other reason why that would happen other than they plan on something going down and there needs to be some type of communication happening, because there's no way that sat is going to provide for everybody. So there's no way they're going to bring that up and connect to a satellite. And a portion of our network does stream through the sats, but you have to pay for that, and it takes a different type of technology to where we're GSM, which is a global network. Verizon's a CDMA. T-Mobile's also a GSM network. And these networks, they all have one thing in common. They all need ground-based internet, and they all have a switch to some server. And there's not very many of them. There's one in Alabama, one in Nashville, not even as big. That thing that took place in Nashville, that wasn't what people thought it was. But the servers, these are at what's at risk. And as far as credentials, man, I could send you all the credentials you need.
No, it's cool. I can tell by just talking to you. So let me ask you this. They told you that do you think this is like a beta test? Like they're just kind of playing it with us to see, like they're just kind of saying, hey, look, we can shut this one off. We can shut it off again. And, might.
I was talking, I've been a part of AT&T for a very long time, and I used to be in the Georgia area. And, when this stuff happened about 5 years ago, I was talking to some bigger up people, that you can't even talk to in AT&T, and
Now wait a minute, real quick. When you talk about something bigger, are you talking about the SolarWind hack?
Yes. So
Okay, that was big. That was under Trump, right? That big hack.
That's correct. But the problem with that hack is there's so many back doors now, they don't know where they're all at. And that's why it's happening. They don't know where the back door's at, and all they can do is bring the coders out and try to flex on the firewall to stop it. But it's just a matter of time. They said that it's so implanted that it would take a decade, damn near a whole new, and I apologize, I shouldn't, but a whole new program to get the back doors out.
Well, that's what I was telling people after the SolarWind hack. I said, they said they're not going to be able to figure this out for at least a couple years. And I said, there's something much bigger going on here than we're being told. And then you never hear about it again. Nobody even talks about it.
Nope. But this is something that we deal with every day, you know, so the cyber attacks have increased considerably. But, you know, as far as, you know, anything else goes, I can keep you guys posted. I've been watching your channel, I think, 5 or 6 years, you know. It's been a long time.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that we're getting close, like you and your colleagues are worried about something happening imminent, like an imminent thing, and how do you perceive this particular hack? Is it there? Are they playing with us? Are they just kind of trying to send us a message? What do you think they're trying to do right now? What, they could have shut everything off if they wanted, right?
Right. Well, I was talking to my boss, and he made a joke, and I don't know how big of a joke. You know, I don't know how serious this could be. And he was like, "Well, you know, our representatives in Congress are going to need a heads up before they hit us." So, I was like, "Wait a minute." So you're telling me they could just, you know, they'll just lean into the gas a little bit just to give them the heads up, and then it hits all of a sudden. And I'm with you. You know, I pray every night for our country, and I pray every night that this isn't going to actually happen. But we're not going to be a good steward if we're not preparing ourselves and trying to get our families protected. I feel like in the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to see something big.
Really?
And
I was feeling this same thing, and I was telling my wife, I was talking to her last night, and I said, honey, I think within the next 24 to 48 hours, this is what you just said is what I told her. Honey, you can verify this in the text. I said, I feel like in 24 to 48 hours, something big, colossal is going to affect the whole world. And I think that it's going to be because of what's going on here in the United States. That's what I said.
Absolutely.
But why now? Why now? Why do you think it's happening now?
I don't know. I'm telling myself that, you know, the attack on the infrastructure in America, it's already in place. They're literally, whenever they want to push that button, they have, and it's been, you know, they've admitted to it, that the back doors are so buried that it's going to take so long to do it. They literally, 7 years from now, the way it was brought to me, they'll have access to shut anything they want down. And the worst part of it is it's public works. It's like our water system.
Yes.
The grid.
It's the grid.
Services.
It's the grid. And that's what I kept telling everybody. This big SolarWind hack, people don't realize how deep of a hack that was. It went into government stuff. It went into our critical infrastructure, like you said, the water, the power. I mean, our dams, everything. I mean, they could literally shut things off at will. And I think they've been playing around with it just to see how they can do it, just to screw, you know, at this any time they want. But I think that like this might have been like a warning or something. Absolutely.
You think about it. We just sent five ships over in the Red Sea. And it's a show of force, you know, hey, you guys, you want to mess around, let's watch this, you know. It could be, I wouldn't take it as, personally, I'm not taking it as a warning. Personally, I take it as they're preparing for something big. I need to get ready as well.
Yes.
And it's just, and I don't know exactly how this is going to go, but if anything goes down, I'll be the first person to know it. By far, I'm the guy that recovers it.
Well, I want to keep you on the line. I mean, I want to make sure that you're always available. Like, you know, you can call me at any time if you see me on or if something happens. Give me a heads up on my Telegram. Do you use Telegram?
I do. I'm on your Telegram.
Okay, so my Telegram direct message, which my wife monitors, it's at Blazing Press. So if you ever have anything you want to send, just send it directly to her. She checks her messages, and she checks all the things that people send. We kind of look at, especially if it's information. But if I know you're wanting to send me info and there's something big going down, I definitely get you on the line again, and we'll talk again in real time.
Yeah.
But this is really huge, and I mean, just your perspective on this now it's chilling to know that this is confirming a lot of what we already kind of knew, or what I've been trying to tell people, and man. It's big,
Yeah.
and I always said it was the solar wind that was the beginning of what was going to come as a result. They had everything from that hack.
Absolutely everything, and they have. I mean, it's so bad that we're at the mercy and basically on borrowed time. This stuff's about to happen anytime. You don't know when. The other day I woke up. Oh, and now I have a backup system. So I wasn't affected, but my whole block was out of power. And I woke up, everything's in. I'm getting in my truck, and I'm driving down the road and I'm hearing generators. And I'm like, what's going on? And I didn't know that there was a big outage of power because I pretty much set it up. And I was just asking myself every morning, is it? Like, is this it? Because, when it happens, you're going to have 3 or 4 days before people find out or actually realize what's happening. Unless they move in with some bad stuff, if they just shut us down, it's going to be 3 or 4 days. They're going to play it off that it's no big deal. You won't hear about a cyber attack.
So do you think they're not going to make this as they're not going to tell the public about this as being a cyber attack?
No, they couldn't afford it with how big this one was. I mean, think about it. If the biggest telecommunication company in the world, and AT&T is, can't protect their firewall no better than that. People their information flows to that. Every transaction you do on the cellular network of AT&T goes through that cloud. Every information, your credit card information, your social security numbers, your names, your addresses, whatever you're doing, every transaction you have goes through that. Even with you can go through any VPN you want. There's a cloud there, someone's accessing that cloud. So you have to have a secured VPN now versus a regular VPN. And that's so crazy how that sounds, but it's the truth. Nothing's guarded at this point. And a lot of these.
Think about this though. Let's just say that what we're talking about here gets out, and then everybody starts talking about it. Then it's going to be like, this could actually blow up into something huge. I hope. I don't want you to get in trouble or anything, but if they don't want people to know this and it gets out, then what?
Well, they might fire me. They never said not to say it. I'm talking about the things I actually know. They haven't. I couldn't see that. I couldn't see them. Letting me go over it or anything. They might have a talking with me, but
but
a lot of the other stuff, some of the stuff I could let you in on. Yeah, maybe.
What's that?
I said some of the other stuff I know because they'd probably let me go for. But
yeah. No. Don't get yourself in trouble. But no, this is such a huge event, and I think that people don't realize, because when I saw what was going on this morning, because I was about to go to bed, I was like, no, something else is going on here, honey. This is huge. All of these companies are affected. This is big. It's widespread. Even though it may be just a small portion, something's going on here. It feels funny. And then also that little check that I got about something happening in the next 24 to 48. Now, when you say this, that you think something's going to happen in the next 48 hours, why do you say that? Because I'm just kind of curious. Why do you feel that?
Well, I go through the motions and do my own research as well, and channels like yours has made it a whole lot easier because it gives me a direction to go research if I'm at work all day and I can't do it. But I feel the 24 to 48 is because of the way things have heated up and just the things that I see in the background. Man, I told my wife I just told my wife last night we need to get more fuel on hand because I just feel like something big's coming in the next 24 to 48 hours. And it was just like an intuition feeling. It was something that weighed heavy on me. A lot of times, you know, when I need to pray for someone or there's something I need to pray about, it weighs heavy on my heart. This is something as well that weighed there. And then and it could just be a heightened of awareness that says, okay, you know, you have some loose ends that you need to tie up, and this is it, you know. So as anything else, we all just need to prepare for even a natural disaster. It doesn't hurt to have this stuff on hand in the first place.
Absolutely.
But when something little like this happens and you look at what you have and you look at how long you could go on what you have, you're not set up. It kind of worries you a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I just was looking at stuff in my own personal, you know, life with what we have, and I've got kids, and I think about providing for them, and you know, we've taken steps to make sure that we've got food, and we do have a little extra fuel, and you know, a little other things that we've kind of done, but there's still so many things that you think about when like we've had a couple power outages in the last 3 or 4 months. And anytime we get a power outage, it makes you really think, you know, like, wow. One day we had AT&T went down and the towers all were out and our electricity, was it our electricity? Our internet. Our internet was out and all of our phones were out. And we kind of live off grid, you know, we're kind of out of the way. So we kind of depend on our cell phone. And we don't, you know, so anyways, we were kind of thinking, wow, this is kind of weird, you know, like this was out for a while. And they said that one of the nodes got hit or some kind of an accident took it out. And I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't they protect it? You know, how is it that an accident takes out a big node that affects your internet and your cell towers and everything's down? They said this happened before and it didn't come back up for 3 or 4 days or a week. I forget how long it took them to fix. But you probably know what that might have been. But, you know, a car accident,
absolutely.
really?
Yeah, car accidents take one out and you'd be out. So that's very plausible. You know, but now everything's going wireless. That's why AT&T has sold all their like direct TV. Everything's going wireless. So keep the internet and that's it. But it's all going to be wireless. And so in the next 5 years, if something big doesn't happen, which I don't see it not happening within 5 years by far, but there won't be landline people for AT&T. A very few of them will make it. They're going to do away with all the landlines. So
now this is happening in other countries too. This type of increase in technology, or are they farther ahead than us? Like let's just say China. Are they farther ahead than we are in all this?
I don't know. I really couldn't speak on it because I'm not familiar with their setup. I know that their 5G. I know China rolled out their 5G and it's a different hertz than ours, but I don't know. I don't know if it's more advanced. I could only assume that their technology would be a little more advanced, being that they could use a lot more with their credit, their social credit score. They have the ability to flex on that and develop that technology right in front of the public. So,
well, the advances in technology are definitely frightening. You know, if you were to think about what they can do now with, you know, just AI, and I mean AI is affecting everything now. It's just, and the advances are just amazing how fast things are increasing. And I always tell people it's exponential. It's not like you're just adding and you're increasing by addition. It's like multiplication. When you have a multiplication or an exponential increase, it multiplies on top of multiply. So it just it's like, you know, it's like a pyramid. It just keeps going bigger and bigger.
Yeah, in the innovation behind what I do, just seeing the technology roll out, it reminds me of back in 1998 when, you know, XP started rolling out, and then all of a sudden your computer systems got to a phase where it was outdated in 6 months. Like every 6 months you had such great, you know, technology leaps that it was, and that's what's happening right now with AI. That's what's happening with our old technology. And a lot of folks, there's some projects that weren't taken up because they thought at the time it was great, but with the introduction of AI, they said, well, no, we've done past that. We can't even roll it out at this point. We need to move forward with the next one. And so you're going to see in the next 5 years the infrastructure of what our telecommunications look like completely different.
Yeah,
Like it's
my
going,
goodness.
we got the net first. The net first, you know, is putting 5G down every major highway there is in the United States. So
No more, no
you
more,
know,
no more. Shall we play a game? That's
yeah,
way gone.
right, right. Well, from what I understand, they should be back up right now.
Oh, they
I
should be
had
back
left.
up.
Yeah, we should be back up.
Okay, good, good. So they should be back up. Well, that's really good to hear. People were wondering in the chat, so she asked me to ask you that. So if it goes down again, then that's bad news, right?
I'll be honest with you. I don't see it just going down just a little bit. I know that they were toying with it because every time they turned it on, it went right back off. You know, and you
That
get
is
a little bit of that
absolutely
spectrum.
crazy. Now you're telling me that the coders are in there trying to shore up the firewall, right? Is
Yeah.
that what they're doing? Okay, now let's just say if it's the firewall is shored up because of that one attack on that one part, that one server. Does it affect all the servers when they do the firewall? Does it protect everything again all over again, or what?
No. So the problem is the back doors are behind the firewall already, and that's what they're finding out. They can't. It don't matter what they do with that firewall.
That's
You know?
what the SolarWind hack did, and I keep trying to tell
Yes.
people that it opened up all these back doors. They got all the back doors to get in. Now, let me ask you this: why haven't they exploited this sooner, or does it take time for them to figure out how to do it, or what?
It takes so much time. I've heard gossip about just changing the technology altogether. I've heard where they have to just get rid of the program. It's basically like a bug in your computer where you have to, you know, sometimes you have to do a hard reset and just restore the whole computer. And it's almost where they're at, even in the governmental side, and they can't just take things offline like that to do that because their servers are so massive. It would take 72 hours to do the full update,
Oh,
you know, or longer. You know, so
That is crazy.
they got their hands tied.
They could literally take down government, because I knew this SolarWind hack went into government agencies and government.
It went as far as your drone.
Oh my gosh! Maybe they could take the IRS down. That would be great.
Yeah. Well, you know, I totally see this. I totally see this going down and being very ugly for a lot of folks that haven't prepared.
Yes.
A lot of folks that haven't gotten spiritually right and walking with Jesus. There's a lot of things that are going to go into this. I know that if we all pray, you know, and prepare ourselves, it'll be much better. But I don't think there's any preparing for if they just took everything out like they can.
There really isn't. I don't know what you can really do because, you know, I keep telling people the scenario of, I don't know if you remember me talking about the think tank that they have. It's called, I'm trying to remember the name of it now. They had a bunch of, you know, military, high-level technical people that talking about what would happen in the EMP attack, what would happen.
Yeah.
And they said within a year, I forget which institute it was. Anyway, it escapes my mind now the name of it, but they said that within a year, if there was an attack on the United States with an EMP, which is kind of similar to a hack could be just like an EMP if they shut it down and we couldn't get it back up running. They said an EMP attack that shuts down a portion of our grid or a large part of our grid, 90% of Americans would be dead within a year. That's what they said, just from shutting down critical infrastructure.
Oh yeah, man. You know, I have, I get just common things together, right? You know, I set up a tower, and this is how crazy it is, okay? And this is what I mean. It's like we've lost a certain part of our. I want to say common sense, because you know, I could set a 125 kilowatt generator out there, and these boys can't even start it. They don't even know how to start the thing, and there's a button that says start. So, you know, yeah, there's going to be a lot of folks out there that have been, you know, tunnel vision all their life and only focused on one thing and didn't care about learning about anything else. And the dumb down of our education system has really hurt a lot of people.
That's why I try to tell people, get out and experiment with things that you know to do that would have. Most people, like you said, they can't think outside that box because they're so focused on just trying to survive and make ends meet. And, they got a 9-to-5 job, they got this, they got that going, and they're too caught up with the things of the world. If they did block out certain things that they got rid of, maybe they could prepare. Maybe they could be thinking outside the box, but they don't. People don't want to lose that little. It's kind of like comfort food. When you got comfort food, you just want that food in it. That's why you're overweight, because you love comfort food. It's like you got that comfort area in your life where you're just always feeding it in your mind, and you don't really abstain and think about other things that are most important. The most important things need to be thought about, and most people aren't thinking about those things.
You're right, and a lot of if folks out there, the one thing I could give advice on from what I've seen, get a satellite phone. It's going to be even if it's just one call to your family, it's worth it to get your family rounded back up. But now, have you seen the satellite communicators? I mean, because I've got some of the communicators. I think those are kind of cool too. Have you? Because I know with the satellite phone you can make a call, but with a communicator you can actually text, and you can also show like coordinates. Like, 'cause I keep telling people, like, if you got loved ones and you want to be able to get to your loved one, you could probably tell them on a phone, hey, I'm over here somewhere out, like I'm on this street, or I'm over here off the beaten path. But if you got the ability to show them with coordinates, then they can like literally follow you. Like they can get on a bicycle if they had to and ride all the way across the country if need be, and they could just follow the little dot right to where you're at in the middle of nowhere. Man, and that is awesome technology. That is something that I definitely keep on me. So I don't have the communicator. I have a sat phone.
You should get a communicator, because I think communicators they're a little lower in price point, and and I'm not saying satellite phones aren't important, because they are, but I would say a communicator for the lower budget too. I've got this one that I just got. I want to show you. One of the ladies. This is for an order right here, but it's it's one, and I think it's so cool. It's a little Garmin. This is a Garmin Mini 2. Look at how small that is, and it's got basically it's like the size of my palm. And it basically is a texting device, and it also sends out signals. It can do SOS. It can show people like right where you're at. You can text your family and say, "Hey, I'm here," and then send my location, my coordinates, and the coordinates are exactly locating them on a map. So if they're in another state and you can't communicate on a phone, well, you got one of these, they got one of these, you can still talk. If the satellites haven't been shot out of the sky, you can still talk to each other. And you got to have something to power it up. Get a little solar panel. You got those little small ones that you can put on your backpack. It'll power this thing up. This thing will last for I think it's like 2 weeks. The power on the actual battery. It's such a small little bit of energy that's being used, but the battery on here will last for like 2 weeks. So you just hook that onto your backpack or in your pocket or whatever, and bam, if it took you 2 weeks to walk to your loved one because you didn't have no gas or you didn't have no power, I'm telling you, I think of worst case scenarios. I always am thinking about the worst case. But our family's all together, so we've got extended family that we try to tell, but most of them don't listen either. Your family members don't listen. Like, they think you're crazy, and I'm like, oh, whatever. I tried.
Yeah. Right. And another thing around the EMP stuff, our units are EMP tested all the time, as far as the strength and what they can do with them.
You're talking like they're hard. You mean they're hardened against EMP?
Yes. Because the most you're going to get out of them is them shut off, and you can just start it right back. Every one of them, every unit out there that is supplied for a cellular service, CK Power, all of them do the EMP tests. They do pretty extensive tests on them, and
So they're more vulnerable then to an attack, to a hack attack.
yes, and I totally believe that since there's been some time between what the solar wind pack was and this, that's the route they're going to go, and I also think that that's why they did that, because like EMP Shield has been working with DHS quite a bit, and the Denso team. So but.
Now, I got a question for you. The EMP Shield, they approached, I talked to them in the beginning when they first rolled it out to the podcaster. I don't know if you know Marfugel. He was like one of the first ones to offer it to the civilian market. But they had opened it up. I guess they were working with Defense Department and hardening military assets. Do you really think that EMP Shield works? I mean, does it? Because I know they say it does. Everybody was always wondering, like, is this a scam? Does it really work? I guess it kind of does, because
it's not going to work on your cars.
It won't work on your car.
No, it's not going to work on your car. Think about it. An EMP is much like submerging a cell phone underwater. Okay, they think your point of entry of your hertz is coming through your battery, so you're connected on the battery. It's basically a fusible link that discharges it really fast. But what our cars so in 2015 the military did it, and I was reading about this. I'm pretty close to this. We live right next to NASA, so a lot of this stuff is coming from some really, really good people. But they did a 2015 EMP test on military vehicles, and all they got, even out of the newest one, which was run 2015, was it shutting off, and they crank it right back. So the reason being that is because it's not like a house that's on the grid. It's like taking a cell phone and submerging it in water. That hit could come from any direction. It's not just isolated coming directly through the battery portion of it. Like it just that's why the power lines and everything just catches on fire if it's big enough, like the Keratin event in the 1900s.
Right. That was just telegraph lines.
Right. Well, our cars. Now, I don't know about Teslas. I can't speak on it because I didn't see anything about it. I could see Teslas being really, really, really badly affected. But they're not going to want to blast the EMP over America, I don't think, personally, in my opinion. This is totally my opinion. Because a lot of that equipment they want to use against us, much like all right, so if you watch that movie where the Teslas just all took off, self-driving, I mean, that's very plausible. It's very plausible,
Well, did you see how there was an article about how that some of the newer cars and trucks, they can actually repossess themselves. They can turn off things on your car and on your trucks, and then they said, well, if it doesn't work where they turn in all these vital components remotely, then they can say, oh, well, let's just take the truck and have it repossess itself, like manually. It's like, what?
Well, let me tell you this much. So I'm EV certified in advanced electrical and basic electrical. I'm also cert through the state. The big around the EMPs that are not being shared, or even the electromagnetic pulse that they're sending is to create such a massive one. The most effect would be the grid, because it would have to be, and it would have to be almost right over it. They could do a couple. It may be across the United States, but it's going to be isolated. You're going to know it's going to happen. And that's one reason why you don't see a whole lot of it. Like if you're over here at NASA in Titusville, Florida, Space Coast, you could go out here once a month. They're the highest producer of helium. They send up hundreds of balloons with satellites connected to them every month.
Wow.
Literally.
Now, go ahead.
We have a clause that right before war, they will send up Wi-Fi balloons. So basically sat phones.
What? Really?
Sat internet off of balloons.
So have they been doing that lately?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How long have they been doing this?
Oh, years. They bring them down and they send them back up. A lot of the satellites that you see are on balloons, just like we saw with China. Yep.
Do you think those were really spy satellites, or do you think that was just got away?
Oh no, I absolutely think they were spy satellites.
Wow. Now, did you
Absolutely.
hear about the shortage or the helium that they did? Something happened with the helium recently. I saw a big news. I can't remember what it was. It was that they gave the helium rights away or something like this. It was a big thing in the news about 2 weeks ago about helium.
Oh, that would
And
be a
that
bad deal for NASA.
well, this is what they said. This is what they said, that something happened with the helium. We did a story on this, and I'm trying to remember now what it was. Helium. Let me see. It was a big deal about our helium reserves, and we've only got a finite because all the helium that we have on the Earth is already here. There's nowhere you're going to get any more helium, from what I understand. But they said something about this being. Does anybody remember that story that we posted on that? Hey,
Oh, hold on one second for me,
yeah,
Robert.
if you got to
You
go,
picking this
brother.
one up?
If you
Let me go get the paperwork, see what generators you need. You wanting to get these two, right? Okay.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
got to get
Robert,
going, brother. But real quick,
I-
I'll tell you. It says medical world concerned after U.S. sells helium stockpile. So look that one up. You get a chance because that goes along with what you're saying. That's kind of scary.
Wow, that is scary. That is. All
But
right,
brother,
Robert. Good
God
talk.
bless you. Thank you so much.
You're
Keep it-
welcome. You're welcome.
We'll keep in touch.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you want to talk, give me a call or send us a message.
Okay, bud.
Okay, bro. God bless you.
All right, bye. Yes, sir.
That was James. It was a great call, man. Oh man, I'm gonna have to cut that segment out and isolate that and repost. People need to hear that. It's a very important message. That's why I got up, because I knew something was up. That was definitely not right. People need to hear this. This guy's credentials are. He's the real deal. So he knows what's going on. How many of you guys out there are shocked by this conversation? I'll tell you right now, I am.